Hello and welcome back to the Empire Build Academy. My name's Fabian and today we are looking at the second episode of From Zero to Hero. So we will be looking at all buildings, upgrades and more in episode 2. So welcome back to the channel, hope you're all okay. Like I say, today we're looking at episode 2, From Zero to Hero, and there will be a lot to check, but I will try and get as much in as possible and condense it all down for you. But we will be looking at the buildings that I've upgraded, as well as other things that I've now unlocked, and we will be, by the end of the video, should have a clear understanding of what and how we are doing things on Evony. Now, the first thing I always like to do is just talk about my website, the Empire Build Academy, which you can find at www.empirebuildacademy.com, and you will find all kinds of tutorials, guides, as well as my blog as well, where you can find other things that I'm doing. I'm updating this on a daily basis, and you should find some very useful information, especially about the game Evony for you. Now, going back to the From Zero to Hero episode 2, what I want to do is now just jump over to the game itself. So let's go and have a look at the game. One of the things I need to mention first is I am actually playing this on the PC, so it may look a little bit different to how it looks on mobile if that's how you are playing the game. But you can see I've pretty much got all the buildings unlocked. So you can see that we've got a couple of blank spaces where buildings haven't been unlocked. So let's have a look at that. So we've got the pasture, which will open at keep level 21. We also have the research factory, which again also unlocks at keep level 21. Up here, we start going a bit higher. The arsenal building opens at keep level 27, and then over here we have keep level 36 before you will be unlocking the military academy. So quite a while for all those things to unlock, but you can see the rest of the stuff is pretty much all there. What I'm going to do quickly is just run through all the different buildings. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on the buildings. I have actually done building descriptions in my Learn Evony in Minutes series. So if you do want to find out more about these buildings, then I'll leave a link in the description so you can go and check those out. And that, like I say, is in the Learn Evony in Minutes series. So the first one we have is the keep, and this is your main building. Other buildings can only be upgraded to a maximum level equal to this building. So whatever your keep is, and this keep here you can see is level 17. That means I can only upgrade all these buildings around that to level 17 and no higher. The next one that we're going to have a look at is the warehouse, which is this one, and this is used to store resources. A higher level protects more resources against looting from the enemies. So your resources that you've got at the top, and you can see mine here, I've got 67.5 million of the food, 83 million of the wood, 89 million of the stone, 61 million of the ore. So that would be able to be looted, but depending on how high I upgrade my warehouse would increase the protection on that as well. And you can click into more information to give you more info about what is exactly protected, and that information button is available on all buildings. The next one that we're going to have a quick brief look at is the academy, and that's this one. And let's click on detail again. And the academy, this is where you can conduct research to improve your troop generals, resource gathering and more. So if we go and click into the research building, and you can see we've got advancement, defense, military, medical aid, alliance, subordinate city, and the last three haven't been unlocked because I don't have a high enough academy, and that's recovery, military advance and defense advance. And you can see that for this I need academy level 17, for this one I need academy level 28, and for the last one I would need academy level 33. So that's the research academy. Okay, so the next building we're going to look at is the Tavern, and this is the building where you can recruit generals from. And you can see in here these are the different types of generals that we can unlock. And if you go into the Tavern, upgrade your tavern to unlock more generals that can be refreshed at the same time and a higher probability of refreshing higher quality generals. So the reason that I wanted to just show you that quickly is because if I tick these here and then I'll go and start clicking on refresh, it will only warn me when one of these come out. But if we go into the information, you can see down here at the bottom, these are the chance details of the different ones coming out. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to upgrade this. So when recruiting the generals, the thing to be aware of is if I was to place the ticks in here, it would show me the epic and historic generals and wouldn't allow me to go any further without clicking a button to go to the next general. But it costs 50 to refresh that every time. But the one thing to be aware of is down here you can see upgrade your tavern to unlock more generals that can be refreshed at the same time and a higher probability of refreshing higher quality generals. And down here it gives you a percentage breakdown of what the chances are for each one to come out. But if you can see here with the legendary and the epic and the legendary epic down here as well, those increase, those percentage chances increase with every building upgrade that you do of the tavern. So me clicking on the refresh now, I'm not going to really see the higher level generals come out because my tavern is too low. So I wouldn't be wasting lots of gems on trying to get those generals until you've got that particular tavern decent level. So once you have got that to a decent level and those percentage figures are higher, then I would consider coming in here trying to chase your epic gold generals. So that is for that one in there. The next building we're going to look at is the Holy Palace, and that's this one here. And the Holy Palace allows you to revive dead troops and recall deserters. So if we just go into that normally and then we click in the Holy Palace, you can see that I can recall deserters up to 105,000 in power with 21 horns, and that is my horn production. As soon as there are people in there, these horns would start to produce, but it can take a while. And again, another reason that you need to be careful with this: the higher the building, the quicker those horns will be produced and the higher amount of deserters that you can actually store in there as well. And then you can see there, Troop Soul Revival unlocks at Holy Palace level 25. Next building we're going to look at is the Rally Spot, and this is how big your army is. The next one is the Rally Spot, and this is how big your army is. And when the Rally Spot is upgraded, you can increase the number of troops you can send out to an attack at once. You also have a couple of other things in here, so just be aware of this as well. Again, the higher the level of the building, the bigger the march size is. And again, if you want to check that information out, all you need to do is go into the information and then start looking at the different levels of march size. So you can see that at level 15, my march size is 36,600. But if I was to upgrade that to level 20, you can see that I almost have another 30,000 additional to go on top of that. The other thing to be aware of with this as well is you can also create march presets. So going into this, I could actually set up myself a monster march by having all my mounted troops. So I could go into here, I could choose King Arthur because he's obviously one of my best generals currently at the moment while I'm still building. And I can have an assistant general alongside him, and we could use Cleopatra for the extra items gained from monsters. And then I could go and add all my mounted troops to this, but it's better to keep it at one level. So with this, I will do the level 5. And I always say, best thing to do with your March preset for monsters is always have your capacity, your rally capacity, always have it with the highest tier of mounted troops you can. So I've got 17,000 that can go in there, but you can see that I've got 59,000 available. So I would want to go and build myself an extra 42,000 mounted troops to give me that full march, which gives me better chances to kill those high level monsters. Now, I have said in episode 1, and I still stick by this, that for me, I don't really want to go and attack monsters myself. And the reason I don't want to do that is because there will be someone in the Alliance who is able to do that at a much higher level. So I don't want to do that. I would rather leave the most powerful Alliance member and having as many mounted troops as possible for your rally march. That's only if you are a high tier and you are going to be hitting these really big monsters. Of course, there are other advantages as well. There are certain events where you would want to be sending your biggest march. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I'm just saying be aware of the crossover between the two. What I don't want to do is go and build 50,000 T5 mounted for further down the line when I don't need 50,000 T5 mounted. But eventually you will start going into layers, and with layers, depending on whether you're going to be a trap keep or you're going to be someone that is playing PvP. That would differ on those requirements. So at the moment, unless you are going to be smacking the big monsters, I would keep that pretty much to a minimum until you've got the higher tier levels. So we're talking T12 troops, T13 troops plus. So that is for the rally spot. The next one, these are all nice and easy. These are the barracks, and the barracks quite simply trains your ground troops. We also have Blazon as well, which we can attach to these things. Again, I will do Blazon in a different video. So that is the barracks. The archer camp is the range troops. So that's where you would train all your range troops. So I can also train tier 6 troops. And you can see that my next one, so I have the tier 6 for level 16. And the next one unlocks at level 19, then 21, then 23, then 25. And continuing down until you've unlocked all those different ones. As you get to the higher tiers, you can also see at level 40, we do unlock T15, and at K45, you can see we unlock T16 troops. But that is so far away, I don't even think I will reach those levels myself. Maybe the 40, but certainly not the 45. You would need to be a big spender to reach those levels. So that was for the archer camp. Next one is the workshop. This is your siege generals. Again, you can click on detail, you can click on more information to see which troops unlock at what level. And then the last one for this is the stables, and this is your mounted troops. And again, you can click on that more information to find out what troops, what they're called, and at what level building they unlock. Okay, we're getting through these quite quickly. Let's go into the embassy. And in the embassy, which is this building here, this is where you can increase the amount of resources that you can send to allies. So not just that, you can also see there the times of receiving alliance helps. That would also go up. Your reinforcement capacity would go up, and more things can be unlocked. And if you want a breakdown of all the different things, again, that I button, the information button, is your best friend, and you can see in there the different things that unlock and the levels that they increase to. Next one is the War Hall, and let's go to the War Hall, which is this one here. And this improves the number of troops allies can send you in alliance rallies against monsters and enemies. So the bigger that your War Hall is, the more capacity that you will have for sending troops that are sent by alliance members. So you can see as an example here, I am level 8 War Hall. That means that my total rally capacity is 200,000, and I would not be able to send more than those 200,000 that have been sent to me by alliance members. If I want to increase that, I need to increase the level, and you can see if we went all the way up to level 20 on this building, my rally capacity goes up significantly to 1.2 million. Next one is the Forge, and the Forge is quite decent because this is where you build all your materials. So you can create very powerful different ones. Let's just have a look at some of the examples of these. So go into craft, you can see we start with the blue, then the purple, then we go into the orange, the gold, and the red. And of course the red, these are your super weapons that you want. Now, being honest in regards to how this helps you out now, I would not be putting too much focus again on wasting resources and wasting materials in particular for this, because you don't need these weapons to be joining monster attack rallies, because again, you will be joining someone else who's done that. Now, if you are someone that is building from the beginning to be quite a powerful keep, maybe you're an alliance leader, then of course you would be interested in some of these. But these ones here, again, the materials that are used, and I'll show you an example of what I mean. You can see here on this purple ring, you can see that I would need 10 of the level 2 silver pearl, I would need 10 of the level 2 bronze, and finally I would need 10 of the level 2 meteorite. Now, my reasoning behind not building these at the moment is because this purple weapon is not good. It's not strong, and it's not something you're going to be using as you go forward. But if you've wasted the materials on making it, that could have been saved for using the materials to build these higher ones, which you can see level 27 forge is needed for this. But all of a sudden I need the level 7 dragon scale. And just to go and show you what that looks like on here, you can see all the different levels that are required to do the next level. So you would need 3 of one item, and let's just compose that right now. I needed 3 of that one item to upgrade to the next one. So now if I want to upgrade the green to the blue, I need 3 of the green to upgrade to 1 blue. So let's have a look at going to the level 10. So going to that red level of this particular item, you would need substantial amount coming all the way from down here. So going back to this, you need 15 of them. You can see straight away how much materials would be required for this Fearless Dragon Wing, the level 7 Dragon Scale, which is probably the most used material on the game for weapons. So getting the level 7 Dragon Scale and getting it consistently is not easy, and you do need to keep creating as many as you can. And while I'm here, just going to shoot over to this building here. This one here, I haven't built it, the research factory, but the research factory would be where you can produce materials throughout the day. I would be personally having dragon scales constantly being built in this research factory once you have that opened up. But like I say, the forge is all about your weapons. It's all about where you build them, and that's what you do with that. Trap factory, if you've played these kind of games before, you will know that is quite simply where we build our traps. And if we go into that, you can see that we have different levels of traps that we can build. Not really many people build these, to be honest. It's one of those where in most games, these aren't really key to building loads of. And I think this game is also the same. They tend to get wiped out frequently. I'd rather be using my resources to build troops than I would be to building the traps. And I think most games sort of follow that rule. But that is where they are. As part of your daily achievement, you do need to build a certain amount. I think it's 150. So that is pretty much what I do. I go in, level 1, and I build my 150 that I need. And that is only for the daily achievement, and that's the only time I am in there. The next one is the prison, and that prison is down here. And captives are held here from successful attacks on your enemies. You can see in the prison that I don't have any captives, and the reason being I haven't attacked anyone or any enemies to be able to get them. But if I was attacking someone and they did have enemies and I won that battle, those captives would be held in there. You can see that we've got lots of different options as well if we go into the detail. So you have a prison capacity, which is 16,000. Captured general's capacity 5. So if I was to capture a general while doing that attack, they would be in there as well. And then you've got captives you own requirement, which is 1,000, and then you can release 1,000 captives to gain prestige as well. But that's all about the attacks that you do on other keeps and the generals and the troops that you capture from that attack. Okay, so where we're going to next, we are going to the shrine. And the shrine, I've got something to collect in there. You do sometimes have these in there at the beginning. Eventually you will have collected them all, and that is the poem of history. But the shrine itself is where you can make offers here for rewards and monarch experience. So if I was to go into here, you can see I've got these tributes at the bottom. I could also offer gems for doing that as well. And then at the top, you can see that we have different levels. So currently I'm a knight. And if I was to reach the next level, it would be Baron. And then we've got Viscount, Earl, Duke, Archduke, etc. And going in here, by offering gems as a tribute, one of your resource productions will be boosted. The tribute effect does not stack, but the time duration does. When you offer a tribute, you gain Monarch XP and Prestige. You can receive Prestige rewards when your Prestige reaches a certain amount. When your total times you offer a tribute reaches 7, the next round of 7 daily rewards will also be upgraded. Your total times you offer will be reset to 0 when you've completed the current round of 7 daily rewards. And this is another daily achievement. I believe it's 5 that you need to offer every day. I am currently knight. To unlock the next level, I would need shrine level 27, and then to keep continuing down, I would then need shrine level 30, and so on until we have reached all the different ones. We now move on to the hospital, which is over here. This allows you to heal troops wounded when fighting other players. And you can see my hospital capacity is 45,000. So I would be able to heal 45,000 at any one time. If I had more injuries than that, then those troops would die and I would need to revive them. So you can see that the hospital capacity increases with each level. And of course, your hospital capacity can also increase with different parts of research done as well. But that's quite simple for the hospital. That's where your injured troops go. Market over here, used to buy items and resources for this one. So in the black market, you can buy different items for gems and resources, and it's normally at a discounted. So just to show you that one there, I can get 100k ore for 80,000 wood. So it's kind of saying that I actually make back on that, and you do on all of these different ones. So probably worth doing, spending the 80,000 on that, and then getting the flip on the other side when you can. So that's what I tend to do at the beginning. I don't really spend too much on any of the other stuff. So you can buy these monarch gear, monarch equipment here, which you can add and you can build up on that. And that's another one that works like the materials. Let's go over to the monarch. So we go over to there and you can see you can upgrade these. Let's go to compose, create 3 of the level 2 to create the level 3 version, and that is how it goes all the way around. You can see that I've got all the different levels there, and you would need 3 of one to get to the next one. So you can see I have 3 of the purple, which will now give me the level 3 1, but I would need more of the blues and the purples to be able to get enough to do a level 3 and turn it into level 4, if that makes sense. The market, you can also use the tax feature to gain some resources. Again, this is not something else that is part of the daily achievement. And you also have, this is a timed event, but normally when there is a server versus server countdown sort of going on, you are able to buy other rewards in here at special prices that are better than the actual black market, and they also have rare goods. But do be careful, because it's very easy to spend lots of gems on this. Use that one as an example, the World Civilization pack. There's the current bid. No one is bidding on it, but if you wanted to, you could have that at the moment with no one else bidding. But let's see if we've got any with bids. This one has bids here, so you can see that 11,000 was originally bid, then we got 16,000, and then for me to do the next bid I would need to bid 21,000. So you can go into there and you can make those bids if you wanted to as well. So you can get some decent equipment, but it will cost you a lot of gems, and at the beginning gems are quite small in terms of the quantity you get. So I probably wouldn't be bidding too much in here unless you are someone who is a payer, someone who's getting lots of gems and you are able to afford these. So let's come off that. The next one is the art hall, which I do have unlocked, and in here this is where you get collections of rare items that grant buffs when completed. So if I was to go into this, you can actually also see as well that I would actually get different rewards when I have one version of each of these generals. So as soon as I've got all of those 4 generals there, I would be able to earn myself an additional reward, which unlocks at level 27 art hall, and it's the same all the way down. You can get all these additional rewards for owning one of each general. So the genius leader would need us to have Alexander Nevsky, it would need us to have Richard the Lionheart, Saladin, and lastly Khalid. I would need all 4 of those generals to unlock this reward that is in here. You have a general hall too as well, so you can see there's quite a lot to do at the beginning, and this is something that you start earning as you go further in the game. A lot of these generals will take a while before you do get them, but that is for that. You also get art treasure, which gives different rewards as well. So you need to do certain things to be able to do this, and this is something that you will be using much further deeper into the game, certainly not at the beginning, so I probably won't talk too much about that, where we can again get some additional buffs when we do the certain requirements for each one. So if I was to get 20 of the guitar and the guzeng and the oud and the erhu fiddle, my pronunciations of them were probably terrible, but we carry on. So that's it for all these different things, and once you've done that you will be able to unlock these additional buffs. But you can see the art hall level requires quite a lot to be able to do that. Okay, let's get through a few of these last ones quicker, because otherwise this video will be going on for quite a while. Okay, so the next one is pasture. Again, I haven't unlocked that, but the pasture is where you earn and improve dragons and spiritual beasts, which can aid you in battle. Then we have the research factory that I talked about earlier, where you can create materials that you need for crafting at the forge. I'm popping through a few of these because we will not unlock these at the moment. The arsenal, this is where you can upgrade troops. So if you had T11 troops, you could upgrade them to T12 if you wish to do that. The wonder, which is over here, this one here. This is where you get powerful buffs and more dragons when built, and there is a lot of different things and different requirements that you can do in there to be able to do that. And then we have the civilization equipment. Again, this is all stuff that you're certainly not going to be looking at the beginning when building your keep up to certain levels. Subordinate city, we did have a little brief chat about that in the previous one, but this is where materials can be built, and also as well we can occupy. You can see there actually that I can own another 3 subordinate cities where I can get additional buffs for as well, and I will do that at some point today, so that on the episode 3 all of these things will be done. I mentioned as well about the all automatic fight for other cities and also accepting reinforcements, but that is for that. Then we have the Dragon Cliff, which is all the way over here, and the Dragon Cliff is used to manage your sacred dragons. Just underneath that, by the rally spot, we also have bunker, and the bunker allows you to protect troops from being killed when attacked. So if I was to go into this bunker, you can see I have 16,000 that I can protect, and I could literally turn around and say that I will protect all of them. And of course, the amount of troops that you can protect increase with each level building upgrade. Next one is the portal. Never used the portal, I'll be honest with you. The portal connects your keep to your subordinate cities for instant support in battles, but you don't physically do anything with it. So I'm not really sure what the point of that building is, but there you go. The next one is the military academy. We'll go back up to the top. This is where you're really getting deep into it now. If you've unlocked this, you are keep level 36. You have some crazy power. You will have some amazing weapons. You will have some incredible generals, and this will allow you to improve your attacks by digging deeper into more research. I will say, when you have done this, you will be spending lots of resources and gold and tactic scrolls to be able to do that, and it does become very, very expensive. Now you can see there as well, you can see my food is going down. So I've got 67 million. Now the reason I've got 67 million is because I've been hitting various monsters that have given that to me. So it's not something I could avoid, but because my food keep isn't big enough, I'll just go into here. You can see that that was actually going down, and the best way to deal with that would be to go and spend all them resources. But it's very difficult at the beginning because the levels of resources required for all the different buildings are quite low. But what I will do when I come off this video is I will probably speed up a few different buildings and trying to spend that food so that it's not going to waste. Next one is the watchtower. Go over the cross here. That's the one that's right down here in the left hand corner, and the watchtower improves detail in scout reports. So that means that the reports that you can get from your scouts, where it will tell you different levels of information, and if I click into detail and more information, you can see the information that would be unlocked for each building, and you can check that out by going all the way down. Level 27 unlocks information on the type of target's reinforcements, so it'll tell you about the kind of reinforcements within that keep, so that you know what additional troops they have to the ones they have themselves. Walls increase defense against attacks, and that's the walls here. And click on detail, click on more information, and doesn't actually say anything in there. But basically, the stronger your wall, the higher level your wall, the bigger the HP and the defense would be in that as well. And also the trap capacity increases, but again, we don't really use traps. Archer tower, this is right at the beginning, right at the front of your building, and the archer tower is another place where you can defend your keep when attacked. And again, you can see that the HP and the attack increases with each level of upgrade when you are doing that. So if we was going all the way to 30, you can see that I'd have... So when upgrading to 30, you would see that I have 10 million attack and 45 million in terms of HP, which would make it harder for the opponent to attack. Moving on to the bounty cave, which is this one here. It looks like those diamond shards, if we call them that. And this is where you can collect rewards when certain packages are bought. This one, I don't personally buy it, but I have bought it when it's been on reduction at $1.99, which does sometimes happen throughout the game. Not often, but it can do. It's worth buying at $1.99. I don't buy it at $19.99. Next one is Battlefield, and that's this one over here. This is where you can redeem rewards and also take part in Special Alliance PvP events. This includes the Battle of Chalons, the Battle of Constantinople, and the Battle of Guagamela. So that's where you can find out all the information in there, and you can click on that. Battle of Zama, I've never played in that, but I'm assuming it's very similar, and this must be a new event that I have not been involved in. But again, when I do get involved with that, I will try and get some footage and show you exactly how that works. Army camp, this increases the number of troops you can train at once, as well as the training speed to be able to do that. The mine generates ore, pretty self-explanatory. The quarry generates stone, which is that one, and then the farm generates food, and the sawmill generates lumber, and then we have the council estate, which is way away for us, but there it is. And in the council estate, this allows you to appoint military titles for additional buffs, but I will be honest, you are going to be quite far away from this. That was soul binding. You won't be doing that at any point soon. And then the Senate, you can see that I can appoint a general in there if I had the relevant ground troop general to put in. And when you're doing this, you can see if I applied a 5-star general in there, I would get attacking ground troop defense at 4%, and then if I did that with ascended generals, you would receive the additional buffs that it is also showing. So that is that. Let's move on to the ideal land, and this is where you can again gain some additional buffs, very minimal buffs, and you can make yourself a pretty garden type feature if you wanted. I'm very lazy, I don't do this, I'm being honest. But yeah, in the ideal land, you can get, you see there, I need additional helps. So I've had 12 or 15 helps, and then I could go in here and ask for some more help from people who haven't yet helped me to be able to do that. And then, like I say, you do get additional buffs. They do stack, they do add up, and it is worth doing. It's just something that I am personally very lazy to do. So that brings us to the end of the buildings. But before I do go, I do want to show you as well, because what we can do down here at the bottom next to the earth, you can see valuable event. If we click into that valuable event, you can see that there are different things. But the one thing that I really wanted to show you here, the most important thing, is right at the front. So it's called consuming return event. And in here, you can see that we can get additional rewards for spending gems, common speed ups, construction speed up. So if we're using construction speed up minutes, we would get these additional rewards, and the same with the healing. Now this actually changes, and this will then go to a resource one. So the more you spend resources, you would also get some additional rewards like this, and they are very beneficial. And I always say that when it comes to doing these events, the other one is definitely the better one of the two. So I would recommend doing it on the other one when it's the resource event. But basically what I'm trying to say is don't do all your buildings, especially when you get to a higher level and those buildings are of a bigger resource required to do those buildings. Don't do them just any time. Do it when those events are on, because the rewards you get, and also stamina for hitting monsters, is quite big, and it definitely makes more sense to do it when those events exist. It's also the same as well. So I'm just going to go into the event center, this time up the top under login gifts, and on this one you can also see that every single day we have a monarch competition, which is this one here with the purple present icon. And that would tell you every day, that would tell you what you need to do to try and place in a position for that particular thing. So today's power increase. So if you was to increase your power via construction, research, troop power, that kind of thing, you could do that in there. Personally, the power increase is one that you wouldn't want to do it, because they do have individual ones for troop training and construction and research. So you'd want to do the construction and research when it's the construction and research event, and you'd want to do the troop power increase when it is the troop training event. But what you want to do, and it's a shame I haven't got the exact example to show you, but you would want to wait for that resource event. And let's go back to the valuable event, and let's go right back to the front. And this consuming return event, it's this one here you need to look. This would change to the different resources. So it would change to the food, the lumber, the stone, and the ore. And then when you are in that, it has things, just for an example, you spend 1 billion resources on each one of those, you would have individual rewards to collect in each of those categories, and it really does add up. I will wait for this one to come up next time, and I will throw it into the Learn Evony in Minutes series so that you can see that and exactly what I mean. But don't spend big resources unless it is the relevant event. if that makes sense. So again, let's do that one more time. Go into Event Center. We go down to check what the event is for today. And on this one, we can see it's power increase. And then tomorrow that would change and we would do a different one. But the best time to do that is when it is the resource event, the consuming return resource event, which is in that valuable event down at the bottom. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Don't just build when, as and when, because you're actually losing out on valuable resources. And you definitely get into a routine where it just becomes second nature that you do those things when it is the relevant event. So that is all the different buildings now, just very, very quickly gone through. I'm not going to talk too much more in this episode because I think that's a lot to take in. So let's go back to the keep. So in the next episode, on episode 3, we will dig in a lot more into these things. Actually, before we go, do want to mention, I did do a video of this yesterday, but I will mention it in here again because I said I would, and that's about general tokens. So let's go into my items. Let's go down to general tokens. So you can see I have 2 of the epic historic generals in there. I'm not going to open them. I'm not going to spend them. And the reason being is because I want to save up as many as I possibly can, around the 50, 60, 70 mark. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because when you go over to, let me just find the right screen. When you go into this historic general summoning, you can see that we can increase the chance details on the different generals. So James Cook, 17.5%, Brian Borrow, 7.5%, Charles V, 7.5%, and then Champlain, 7.5%. So if you want to send a general to a high level, to the 5 red stars, I want as many as I can to open up, because the chances of getting James Cook, who's a range general, it's just been added this week, goes through the roof when I have 50 of them. But if I was to only open them 2 here, 1 there, 3 here, the chances of that are limited because the generals change on these percentages. So these 7.5s and the 17.5 will be different generals. Now, someone did make a great point. You still want, ideally, to get every general, because they may be something that's part of the general hall list that we talked about earlier, this one in here, the general hall. So it might be that you need those generals. But personally myself, I think for me, just to stay, because you could be chasing, you could say, right, okay, I want to go and get James Cook. For argument's sake, you want 1 copy of James Cook, but you could spend 7 copies of your general token trying to get that. So I agree, it is a valid point that eventually you need them, but I'm still going to stick with the belief. I'm still going to stick with the way I would do it, especially if I was starting all over again. I would want to save as many of those general tokens as I can. And I'm going to go back into that item because I can click on detail in here and you can see that James Cook is 18.5% from this. Now, there's none of the 7.5s, so that means you aren't getting them. And the reason that you're not getting the same percentages as the ones we showed you before is because this is a Epic Historic General Premium. So that's what this is. It's the Epic Historic General Premium. But when you look at the other tab where we go into this one, and we've got the Historic General Summoning, this one requires different ones. So this one requires, I think it's called Glory. I don't have any to show you, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Actually, there is a way I can show you. So if I went into the purchase the big packs and I went to the 99.99 one, you can see there, that top one there, that Epic Historic General Glory, that one there is the one that we'd need. And that's the one that gives these 7.5 and 17.5 percentages. But the other one is a premium general, and it would only be James Cook that counted with that when you are summoning the generals. Now, with this one as well, with the Glory one, do want to make it clear as well that when we go into the Historic General Summoning, you can see that James Cook is guaranteed within the next time after summoning for 5 times. So if we summon 5 times, we're going to guess James Cook guaranteed. That doesn't count for the premium ones. That only counts for the Glory ones. But the percentage, the 18% percentage that we had on the general one, the premium, is still valid. So you're still going to get 1 in every 5 is potentially a James Cook, with all the others being 0.93%. So just be aware, there are 2 different tokens. There's the Epic Historic Premium General Token, and then there's the Epic Historic Glory General Token, if that makes sense. So if I had 50, 60, 70 copies, you can see that I'm almost getting a 1 in 5 chance, but the others are 0.93. So you can see straight away that if you have 50, 60, 70 copies of those and you'd save them up over the month, you're playing the long game, you can find a way, even as free to play, to get yourself decent generals. So you could do that and say, right, I'm going to save up the 50 copies of the ranged, get James Cook, and then the next time a grain general comes out, you could be saving up again once you've already done the ranged. Yes, of course, it's going to take a long time, I'm not going to lie, but it's just a better way of getting ascended generals rather than being stuck with one general, two generals that you can only get to 1 star at best. So I just wanted to mention that briefly in there. I did do a whole video on it, so if you want to go to check that video out, you can do that as well. But that brings us to the end of this video. There's going to be a lot more in episode 3. Didn't expect the buildings to take quite so long, so I won't do any more in this particular video, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. Thanks for watching.